What is going on, guys and girls? It is GhostRobo, and today, me and my friend Scott sit here in the doldrums of summer, debating the meaning of life and all things elsewise important. Scott, how are you doing?
We're just discussing games, so that sounds a bit morbid. Sounds like a really serious podcast.
That's what we're about to do. Yeah, that's what we're going to do now. It's going to get all good and joyful right in like 2 seconds after we find out how you're doing. Now we're going to talk about games. Enough of the life stuff. It's time for the good stuff. And we've been playing a lot, and there's some interesting topics that have come up lately that have got some good feedback from you guys on that we wanted to discuss. So we'll just get right into it. No time to waste, no time to lose. What have you been playing lately?
I've been playing The Crew, which is like an open MMO type racing game. I've been playing Destiny, and I played Walking Dead. That's pretty much my game.
Let's start with Walking Dead, because I think both of us like that a lot. Both of us played that to completion real quick, and I mean, just overall, without spoilers, how does episode 4 fit into your hierarchy? One of the best, one of the worst, just average?
It's one of the better season 2 episodes, but I still feel like season 1 was slightly better in terms of episodes. But I really want them to. I don't know when they can do this, but I feel like the decisions aren't making much of an impact. Because I feel like I was making a lot of big decisions in that game, in that episode, but I feel like I wasn't actually doing any big decisions. It's weird. It's like
right. They kind of.
Yeah, sorry, go on.
No, they just kind of like, they pretend like, oh my God, they make you think like, are you going to save her? Or are you going to save him? And then, they either both die or they both survive.
I spoke to you and you're like, oh no, she dies as well. So I'm like, oh, okay.
What? Right, you do both things, or there's this real controversial moment, and I'll try to talk around it so it's not a spoiler, but basically you're given the choice to steal something, and whether you steal something or not, and it directly says at the end of the episode, like, did you choose to steal? And mine says no, but that character still says, I stole from them. And I've seen people like try to make like, oh, maybe they meant this, but clearly they didn't, because at the end of the episode it says, you did not choose to steal, and yet the character and the scene plays out as if I did, which is just like, why am I even making choices?
If that decision, like, it perhaps saved... We can't talk about spoilers, can we? Can we talk about spoilers?
Is there a way for you? Okay, spoilers for the next 30 seconds. Go for it.
I mean, so that medication, I thought that medication might be able to save Rebecca. Is it Rebecca?
Right.
But perhaps we don't get attacked by the Russians mobs. So it should, that's what it should do, but it doesn't. They still steal the drugs or whatever, and it's just.
And I know it's hard, like development wise, and I guess that's the end of the spoilers, by the way, in case you're covering your ears and screaming. I know it's hard, like, to have two totally different paths would be very time consuming, but even in season 1, we had instances where it was like, you have this character or you have this character, and at least it split the community, where then my story felt a little bit different than yours, and I felt like we were having our own game. Now it's like, did you choose to save, her or her? And then, wait, no, we both have the exact same outcome, even though we picked opposite choices.
Because I felt like certain bits I was, this is definitely the right decision for me to do, but it worked out the same though, and it's just like, I don't know.
I like the story. I thought that this was one of the better character
it's very exciting as well. It's constantly like doom. It's like the next bit just keeps happening, which I like.
Yeah, I noticed there weren't very many moments with Clementine exploring. It was mostly just like go action scene, decide things, make choices.
I like stuff like the training bit and stuff. Like she's getting stronger and she's like learning new techniques and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and then you sort of fall for that character that's helping her, and then it's just a good plot, and I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes for the final one, especially with that epic crazy finale thing.
I really liked it, and I guess I liked it even more so because I felt like the season 2 characters are not as cool as the season 1 characters, like Luke, Nick, Rebecca. I
think Luke's okay. I like that's probably about it, really.
My favorite character from this episode was Jane. I think she really came around and turned into something pretty cool, and kind of a different. She fills a different role as opposed to like, the caring mother, the, tough jerky guy. Like her kind of strong woman, but like a little bit roguish was pretty cool.
But I don't always understand like her decisions as well. Like I just don't understand like what's going through her head.
Right.
At some point it's like, I want to be, it's safer being alone. No, it's not safer being alone. How do you sleep? I had you want something to like watch or something. It's just like
Yeah, everybody's a little confused. And I felt like it was more of a early season episode, like, oh, we're building character, and yet the next episode is the finale. So I'm really totally confused as to where it's gonna go. I know we had that big event at the end that kind of definitely is gonna shake things up, but it's like that episode felt to me like an Act 2 thing, not like, you know, the penultimate episode and now the finale. I kind of wish there were more episodes almost.
For sure, yeah. I mean, I'm guessing they'll have a season 3 if it's sold well enough.
You think so?
It all depends on sales. I don't see the sales, but if it sells well, I feel like they're just going to keep bringing it out and out until, I don't know.
Because are they bringing season 2 to PS4 and Xbox One at some point?
Yeah, it's coming out as like a game of the year thing.
Okay, so they
So
are
it's coming
doing
out.
that.
I don't know. I think they're releasing season 1 first, actually.
Oh, really? Okay. So they've got
Pretty
a lot
sure
of
like a
content to
game of
push
the-
out.
Yeah, unless they're bringing both seasons out at the same time. I don't know, but
That would
Yeah.
be cool, like a combo. Yeah,
Like I said-
actually, if they did that, that's like a great
good price. Yeah.
$60 for both seasons or something. But yeah, it looks like October 21st, they're bringing season 2. It's a $30 game here in the States. But do they also have season 1? Are they individual? Yeah, I guess they are.
Must be, yeah.
So season 1 is coming July 29th.
Okay, that's quite soon.
Yeah.
Because you keep saying that that it doesn't work that well on the PS3, and I have
Right,
like
God.
no problem at all on PC. Is
Yeah.
like immaculate. It's just
It is definitely the worst performing game I've ever played on PS3.
weird that it doesn't look anything like it's challenging the PS3 at all. It looks they must just chuck it on there like let's go let's go like, hope it works.
Yeah, like the programming just is not perfect in any way. There's just
weird.
stuttering and lag. But my question for you that I was talking about is like, do you think that they're gonna end this one on a happy note or a sad note? Like without getting into specifics, do you think that they will go for like a dreary, dead, end of the world scenario, or do you think they'll make it like, oh, survival, Clementine, yes, type ending?
I think it'd be like a happy ending, but there's almost like a little bit of like a question mark on something as well. So they're like perhaps arrive somewhere and it looks really safe. They've got food, and they see like this one like weirdo or something's not really quite right, and they go oh, and they'll sort of end it there. So it's got like this sort of potentially a season 3 if you want to see it, or that sort of thing.
Give us more money. Yeah. I think it'd be really cool if they did this somehow weekly, where maybe it was only like a 30-minute episode, but if they kept us engaged consistently instead of like 2 months, like, oh yeah, I remember this, because when I'm in it, I love it as much as any game pretty much, but then you kind of go away from it, and it just, I don't know, it's weird to me that there's so much space between the episodes.
Yeah, I'd like a weekly thing, just a week, like 30 minutes, next 30 minutes. It's just like
That'd be awesome.
Goes on for like 2 months. It'd just be so good.
Somebody make this for us, please. Yeah. And I guess I want to know if I should be excited for the crew, because it's a little bit different of a racing game, isn't it? Like they're trying some new things.
Have you seen anything on it yet? Of the
I played
game
one race at E3,
really?
but that didn't give me any sense of the real game. It was just like, we have cars and you can race them.
I mean, I actually quite enjoy the game. I've had a few issues on the PC. It's crashed a few times, and
it's probably just beta stuff, though. We assume.
Yeah, but we do worry about the release.
Right.
I mean, literally, it freezes up on me. It starts flashing at me. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Or it just does this weird. And it's just like,
ooh, I like that one. What's it do again?
It's like buzzing in my ears. Like, fuck it. So yeah, that's fun. But yeah, generally the game is a lot of fun. It's like the world is absolutely insane. I went from Chicago to Detroit. It took me about 8 minutes to travel there.
All right.
That's fairly
about
close.
right.
Yeah, that's about right. It's like a fairly that's like a close state.
Okay.
And it's obviously got East Coast, the West Coast, LA, New York, and that's just
because the big draw here is like they supposedly have the full.
Yeah,
or at least
about
most of the
hour
states.
and a half to travel from one side to the other.
That's pretty cool, yeah.
Which is insane, and that's just going straight. So it's not actually going around the whole thing. So
is the structure more like the recent Need for Speed games, where you just kind of pull up and take on a task, or is it mission based? Or
it's you got missions to do. So you got like a storyline. I managed to do up to level 10 in terms of like story. So there's around.
So there's a plot.
Yeah, there's a little plot behind it as well. So you're like this main character, which is I think got arrested.
Okay.
Yeah, he got arrested. He's like a part of a crew or something, and then they keep talking about inks and stuff. So you have to get like an ink, which is like a tattoo on you,
right?
Like a 501 tattoo or something, and you go up the ranks. So there's like a rank. So the V8, so the V8 is the top guy.
Okay.
It's actually called V8, which is weird. You got like V2s and you got the ranks and stuff. But I mean, it's not like a compelling. It's very cheesy. It's like a sort of
Sure, but
Need
there
for
is
Speed
a campaign content as well as more of the open world. Go and just do
PvP as well, and you got little side things as well. So if you're going like from A to B, you got to try and get through like checkpoints as quick as possible, or do this massive jump, and you got little side things like that as well. So
does it do anything that makes you kind of go wow, or does this just feel like the next year's version of Burnout Paradise, Need for Speed? Is there anything that sets this apart, or is it basically another one of those racing games just with a bigger map?
it doesn't wow me.
Okay.
It excites me because it's so open. I like the fact that it could be like me and it's like a little crew, and you could like go around exploring and doing random stuff. It could be potentially fun in that way.
Sure.
So there's certain things
Are there
that
any
excite
like
me.
collectibles or hidden stuff, or like
I
you
didn't-
get 12 out of 12 jumps or something like that?
I don't really see anything like that.
Okay.
But again, I like the customization's really cool. The cars look really good.
Does it handle well?
It's very arcadey, so
Okay. So it's way less like
it's quite skiddy. Not skiddy, but it just feels very arcadey. It doesn't feel.
you've played Forza Horizon 2. Is it like that level or even more arcadey?
I'd say a tiny bit more. if I'm
Okay.
honest. So it's very. It's definitely. It's not like a realistic driving game.
Sure. So you're zooming around corners, going 150 miles an hour, and all that.
I
jazz.
also like the fact you can change all the vehicles into like dirt vehicles. It just changes the whole spectrum of the vehicle. So big, massive tires, big like spoilers and stuff, and it's like 6 different classes. So you can change your vehicle into also all those classes, and it also just changes the handling like so much on dirt and stuff. So
Sure. So that sounds like one to keep an eye on. Maybe not anything
Definitely.
revolutionary, but it might be the best. Well,
definitely, I'm definitely excited for the full game for sure. So.
yeah, it'll be interesting to see how those two sales-wise do. Forza Horizon 2, The Crew, Ubisoft's major
Drive Club.
Yeah, Drive Club. What is that game? Is it even coming out? Does anyone care?
People
feel
say
like-
it's quite good actually. I've
Do
been
they?
hearing
As more of a
people-
sim.
Yeah, more of a sim.
Well, then, we will have to see how the driving games fare. But the big one, I guess, of the week is Destiny. And everybody kind of is. I feel like there's people on so many different sides of this in terms of how this is fared. And just still so much confusion. Like, is the beta identical to the full release? Is the beta just testing things out? Is there more areas? Are there more. Just so much unknown. And for me, the beta has completely put me into this, like, I don't even know what to think anymore. Like, I'm going to let you go first because I just have so many thoughts on every angle of Destiny being the next star game or just being a total letdown.
It's not going to be a letdown for me, but I don't think it's going to be this revolutionary, amazing new FPS that just changes everything. It's not going to be like that at all for me. It's more of like a sort of drop in and out sort of co-op for me. And I think what we have seen from the beta is actually the full game. It's like that's the first 5 missions in the game, and I think that is actually what it's going to be like. And it moves on to the moon, I think, afterwards. So we do those 5 missions on Earth, jump to the moon, and we do some moon missions, and it all continues that way.
So do you believe that Old Russia is the only Earth area, or do you think that it's one of many? I've seen both talked about. IGN has a guide up right now that shows like 5 Earth areas, and
Oh, really? Okay.
I don't.
So you don't believe it, or
Well, okay, think about how long it took for us to go through that, right? Those 4 or 5 Earth missions take maybe an hour and a half. So if there's only like 3 or 4 planets of an hour and a half, it's like a 6-hour game, and then you just regrind the strikes. I have to believe, I'm so wanting to believe that Bungie has a much bigger game than that underneath this. So much hype, so much development time, so much money, so much vision, so much potential to say like, oh, it's Old Russia, and then it's like, the moon craters, and then it's the dusty Mars. Like,
I do worry about it. I mean, so you saying there is definitely stuff on?
there's no confirmation either way, and that's I feel like that's Bungie's responsibility to step up and say, hey, our game
Surely
comes
there
out
was-
in a month and a half, and here's what's going on.
And surely they would come out and say, yeah, there's 4 different places on Earth,
Right.
Chicago, New York, blah blah blah, Japan, or something. It just feels like they're just this could be it for Earth, and that's it. Old
Right.
Russia, which is some rusty, rundown Russia apparently.
To be honest, Old Russia and Dusty Mars, at least what I've seen, they look pretty darn similar. I mean, if you, a lot of these places, if you told me, oh, Venus is on an overgrown part of Earth, I would believe you. And I'm hoping that they have like a lush jungle. Like what I've seen talked about for Earth is that there is Chicago, that there's a European area, that there's old Russia, and then that there's Mumbai jungles.
That
And
sounds okay.
that would be
That's
great.
True.
And I hope that we open up the box on September 9th and unveil this massive
wild.
game. But I'm prepping myself to be very underwhelmed. Like the map we see is the map we're going to get. And that's
I'm worried that's
it.
the point that all this content you spoke about will be the game when it's fully done. By
So
that I mean
expansions, DLC.
Yeah, they're saying, so we read more console does like Destiny stuff. He mentioned that apparently they're doing 4 games over 10 years. They're doing 4 expansion packs or 3 expansion packs for each game. It's like, how can you plan that far in advance?
And why are they talking about that when we don't even know? Like
we haven't got the game yet.
we don't
I
even know
understand
what
if
it
the game
is.
come out. Yeah, I mean, if the game come out and said, "Oh, this game, 10 out of 10. Oh my god," then I understand. Like, oh yeah, sorry, we're doing 4 games, 4 expansion packs. Be excited because this is going to be more. But we've seen a bit of the game, and that is it.
Or if they said like, hey, our game has 5 areas per planet, 20 areas, and we're planning 4 expansion areas, like that would be exciting. But the fact that we don't know, I mean, I'm done with Old Russia. I have seen so much of Old Russia. I've driven around it like 10 times. I don't want to be there anymore. And if I don't care if there's cool loot, I just don't want to play those same encounters over and over again. And so it's like, why not? I don't know. They're being very coy and very hidden with all of this. I have to imagine though, Bungie, they've made great Halo games. I would be so shocked if this is it. I'm really crossing my fingers that the beta is just a sliver and a slice of what the full thing is, and not an indicator that it's just this small. I mean, you play against those same waves over and over again, and it's just
that drives me berserk. I come back, I turn around,
and they're there.
They're back again. I mean, I can't. No wonder Earth fell. For Christ's sake, you keep coming back every 10 seconds.
Exactly.
You know
How
what I
are
mean?
we
Like,
ever supposed to beat them?
normal humans just trying to fight these constant cycles of freaking falling or whatever they're called.
For the actual game itself, though, like, okay, let's assume that Bungie is gonna do all the things we want. Do you like the game that they've presented? Do you feel after playing hours of this that Destiny is something that will capture your attention more than just launch week and maybe 1 or 2 more weeks?
I think it'll capture my attention for a while. I've been playing PvP as well for quite a bit, and I actually quite enjoy that as well. So I can see it, and doing co-op stuff with like you guys and doing with you, and I can see it being a long-term game I would play quite a bit, especially if they could bring out decent expansion packs, maps, more stuff to explore.
They just need that content. They need,
for sure.
because like I hear them talking a lot about, we only have a level 20 cap, which I find so strange. But
apparently the beta is a quick progression of those levels. So
you're not gonna on some
more
levels
weird.
that's good, but at the same time, then it's gonna take me hours to get my dumb knife.
I was just about to say that. I was like, so I was like level up really, really slowly.
Like
from
what?
stuff I've already done. So
they have said that gear is trying to be their focus, but I don't know that even if I can get this cool Viking helmet, I don't know that I want to fight Sepix Prime for a 7th time. And part of my issue there is one of the things that Halo kind of prides itself on is interesting encounters. Like the battlefield in Halo is much more dynamic than something like Call of Duty or Battlefield, where you are forced to face off against grunts and elites and snipers, and you have to modify your strategy depending on the scenario. To me, Destiny is much more point and shoot and pour bullets as fast as you can. Do you get that sense?
I do get that sense a lot. I mean, I know for a fact there's going to be more enemy types as well.
Right.
We've only seen 2. I think there's 4, as far as I know. So there's more enemies coming as well. So,
but even the ones we've seen, and this is the question I posed on Twitter, just to see what people thought about it and see if I was, crazy or off base. What I asked was, are shooters too dumbed down? Are they only difficult because of overwhelm, not because of cool design? Should enemies be more challenging? And what I meant by that is, like, I feel I'm in control of Destiny. Like, when I'm playing, I can easily take down the enemies, except when there are either A, too many of them, or B, they give some guy a giant health bar, like that Devil Walker who seemingly has 10 million HP. But other than that, like, there is nothing that is making me think. There is nothing that is making me, react on the fly. It's all, to me, it feels like a patience game. Like, am I going to be impatient and run out and risk dying? Or am I going to sit behind cover, pop some bullets in, sit behind cover, pop some bullets in, and I wonder if I'm just burnt out on that kind of design.
I don't know. It's hard to say, is it? I mean, Borderlands is similar in some ways, I guess. For me, when I'm playing, I feel completely utterly comfortable if the opponents are like the same level as me or just below.
Mm-hmm.
Once I start seeing like, oh, that guy's level 10, that guy's got some crazy amount of health, I do start to panic. I'm a little bit. I'll start thinking a little bit more tactically. Come back, get my sniper out, get my rocket launcher out. I think that's probably where the game works a little bit better, but I don't know.
I don't feel like you have enough tools to really diversify. Like, okay, if I'm fighting against a little acolyte, or I'm fighting against Big Sepix Prime, or I'm fighting against one of the knights who pull up their shield, I'm still using the same assault rifle. I'm still aiming for the head. I'm still just trying to fire as fast as I can, duck, refill. And I was trying to think of games that do this better, that I think Halo does, in terms of, okay, these enemies are resistant to plasma, or these enemies you really want to knock out their shield, or you want to go for their armor. Like, to me, that at least introduces an element of strategy, almost like a Zelda boss fight, where you got to be more specific or have to use your skills to your advantage. We got a question, or a comment, I guess, from Cam, who said, I personally think that shooters need to be redesigned. This is due to most modern-day shooters following the exact same Michael Bay style, huge explosions, low difficulty, in what can only be described as an attempt to make you feel like a god. I wish shooters would take a leaf out of The Last of Us' book and focus more on strategy rather than just immortality and big bombs, which I think is kind of right on.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I think that's perfect. That's perfectly said in that sentence, is what should be changed and what should be looked at for the future. I mean, perfect. Sorry,
go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say something like a Fallout could be a perfect example of how they could look at the way the combat is more tactically, and sort of try to integrate sort of different items, and having like, I don't know. It's hard to say like exactly what they could do to make it work.
I think it's got to be one of two ways. Either A, you give yourself a bigger skill set, right? Mm-hmm. So that, okay, I can, almost like an MMO, which Destiny is trying to be like, of like, okay, I've got these 10 different skills, and one of them, buffs this, one of them enhances my speed, then I can get in for shotgun shots, just more abilities so that you can kind of create strategies on the fly. And maybe Destiny will have more abilities, but from what I've seen, it's going to be like replacing them. It's not like, oh, all of a sudden triangle plus X plus circle does a new super. It's just going to be, do you want this super or do you want this super? And I think that is one way, giving yourself more abilities. The other way is to make the enemies more of a puzzle rather than just a target for bullets. So The Last of Us does that by making the enemies, say, for example, instant kill you if they hear you, like the clickers. Or there are some games that do it well, where, you have to take out the armor first and then switch to a different weapon, or pull off, their shield, things like that add elements of, I guess, process, so that at least you're going through like, I got to do this, or I want to use. It's almost like limitation is good. So like, think of BioShock, where you have a limited amount of Eve to use your plasmids. So you have to pick, okay, I want to shock this water pool so these guys get hurt, and then turn around and use my shotgun shells against these guys. Destiny and Call of Duty and all of these major, quote, AAA games are just spray bullets and move on, and spray bullets and move on. And in a game that wants you to repeat things, to grind out, to get new loot, I don't know how long I can last just pouring bullets into a gigantic floating sphere, even if I'm with my friends. Like, that's just, I don't know.
Even like simple stuff, like say, like the fusion gun could be good against robots or something,
right.
Or the flame gun could be good against flesh enemies and stuff. Just simple like stuff like that is not even in the game at all. It's just purely fire a gun. The flame will do slightly more damage to whatever it hits. It's nothing. There's nothing really behind it at all. It's just damage.
And they have now the cloud. Supposedly you can make AI smarter. We had an interesting comment from a guy named Jean, who said, basically he wants AI to be smarter. And what if, for example, they threw smoke grenades and then rushed at you, or something that they changed up their routine versus just either they run at you or they stay back. And a couple other people echoed similar sentiments of like, there's basically two kinds of shooters. The ones where you're stealthing around and the guys hear you and then fight you, or they don't hear you and they just continue on their dumb path, or games where they just, run at you, like, Nazi zombies, or even Destiny, where you have enemies that just stand and fire, or the Thrall guys will come at you, and it's, I don't know. I just think that they probably should start integrating more RPG type elements into these games to give us more choice within combat, so we don't feel like we're just doing the same old thing over and over again.
I feel like, so say like Rainbow Six Siege, for example, that's probably one of the aspects I like about this game so much, because the AI will be tactical. You got to be tactical to try and get those people, and there's like hostages and stuff, and you have to think about exactly your next move, and you got to sort of think like 2 steps ahead, and that's all what the game I'm looking forward to, just because I think it'll be so realistic. You can max that game up to the hardest mode and stuff. I was actually playing Left 4 Dead the other day with a couple of friends, and I had it set to like realism on ultra hard. And you guys are literally you talk it all the time, and it's so difficult, and it's get hit by a zombie like once, twice, and then you're dead. And that's what makes games, like, for me, like, more compelling. It's just the fact that it's that difficult.
You have to react to your surroundings. You have to react to the scenario. There's, it's team-based there. So imagine if in Destiny there was an enemy that could, come from behind and hold your teammates, so you had to go and get a headshot there.
Or hit them or something.
Right. Or do, some way to kind of modify the way of play. We had an email from Mark who said, there's one mission where you're protecting your ghost, and this is the strike mission against Sepix Prime, and it tasks you with surviving 3 waves of enemies. The enemies are weak, but the amount of them is overwhelming. They're shooting you from every angle, and the only way that they make that, quote, difficult is by forcing you to handle such a huge wave of foes, and if you were by yourself, you die instantly. With friends, you can accomplish it, but it's not like it's not difficult because you figured this out or you guys use teamwork. It's just difficult because they're throwing guys at you from every direction, so many of them, which seems kind of like a crappy design.
I mean, anything like they would say that where it works reasonably okay. It's you got like certain enemies sort of running at you. You got enemies stand back, and then in that sort of way it does work. You got like these weird like spidery things like running at you, and you got like the wizards stand back, and in that way it's slightly tactical, I guess, but. I found that really easy. I just stepped back, hit them, shot them, and
it becomes like an exercise in patience. Like, do I have the patience to sit here, fire a little bit, and fire a little bit more, and I don't have a solution for how shooters can evolve, but I do like the more dynamic ones, like a BioShock or a Last of Us, where either they require you to plan out your attack or utilize different combos, but a game like Destiny that they want us to play for 10 years, I don't feel like it currently has the depth to hold that. And maybe the full game will, but why would they have fake skill trees and stuff in their beta? That doesn't seem like a likely outcome.
Yeah, again, I'm worried, but also excited to the potential of this game. I don't know. I don't think we've seen anything on it yet, but I'm worried, excited, and I just want to see the full game for sure. Yeah,
I think I'm really ready to find out what this is, because they've laid a good foundation. Like, I think we like the moment-to-moment gameplay, and
the first time around, I just felt like I played it. I think that I'm almost jaded by the fact I played it so many times now. I played the same bit over and over again.
You can play the same encounter 10 times in a row if you're not careful. Like, just getting stuck in this loop of, and here they come.
I'm a sparrow now and just speed past them, like, go away.
Get out of my face. Let's speak on PvP just for a second here. You were saying that you're really getting into that. How has that been going for you?
I find certain classes aren't equal. There's certain things that annoy me. The specials are frustrating when you get hit by them. If I'm like a nice little kill streak, a random Titan comes down and just smashes me. I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, God damn it. And I feel like so for me, the Hunter is the best online character for PvP. Okay. I feel like the Warlock is the best for like single player stuff. Okay. So like within like free roaming and stuff like that, because that Nova Bomb is really good. I feel like the Titan's probably like the best sort of overall character. Right. And I feel like the Hunter's so much better online. Is that because of the golden gun attack? Yeah, it's like I'm literally a mile away and this guy goes. I'm like, what is the point of this game? Right. To the point where you're getting really angry. I don't tend to get angry at games often.
I think it's interesting that PvP has captured a lot of people's attention, because it wasn't something they focused on early on. And I know it's a beta and there's more, variety within the PvP. But it's interesting to me that has kind of taken hold as like, hey, this is a really cool thing. And that's good news. Like, of course, if there's more ways for the game to be enjoyed and persistently played, I just hope that the single player is really or not the single player, but just like the campaign is what captures us, and the PvP, it's supposed to be an afterthought, right? That's supposed to be just like the extra feature.
Seems to tend to the main thing for this beta.
Right.
People seem to be talking about that. I'm not sure if it's just my Twitter or YouTube, but I just keep seeing comments about PvP and yeah.
Do you think that?
Also, that moon level is terrible, by the way.
Yes, it is. Well, and that's what I was going to say. Like the randomness of these levels. So we're playing the same mode, which is control. You're trying to hold these points, but also get kills because that gives you more points. And like you've got the Venus map, which is very close quarters. It's basically like whoever sees someone first wins. Like there's very little opportunity to have a long life there. And then you've got the Mars map, which is a little bit more open, and fights take place in certain areas, and you kind of have some sight lines. And then you've got the moon, which is just like vehicles and running crazy. It almost feels like totally different game modes because the maps are completely different.
And again, the vehicles are absolutely annoying as hell. I mean,
and they're way too overpowered.
Is like, God, what are you doing? It just wipes at everyone in one hit. I'm like, this is an absolute joke, and it's so hard to take down as well.
Yeah,
you can get heavy ammo, but heavy ammo is quite rare. You can use specials, but specials take ages to recharge. So you're just running, but you can't run very far. It's painful at times. I also feel like the guns for online, you're going to use the auto rifle, and I feel like everyone uses that gun.
Yeah,
it's used all the time. I use it all the time, and I do pretty well.
Do you think it's because the movement is quicker? I'm just trying to think why. Because in a game like Halo, for example, battle rifle is pretty darn successful. Games like Call of Duty, there can be non-automatic weapons that work, but here, everybody. And I don't know if it's just the damage model that they have going on or what, but it seems like if you're not using the auto rifle, you get killed quicker. Like you have to fire fast.
Quicker. You just die because you don't kill them quick enough.
Right.
I find with the auto rifle, you just aim for the head, bang bang, and it's dead. That's it.
Right.
One sort of couple of shots and they've gone. You walk off, next one, bang bang. And I feel like the scout rifle is too slow. The plasma rifle is too slow. I just feel everything's just like the hand cannon is useless on one.
Yeah, here's where I wish you had more skills, because then you could sort of formulate more of a team or a strategy. To me, it kind of feels like just sprint at each other, and whoever gets the first hit basically wins. And it's fun. It's definitely fun. But again, the whole structure of the game is interesting. I think interesting is probably the best word. I'm not down on it. I'm not super high on it. I'm just very curious, and I want to see what it turns out to be in, 5 weeks now.
I feel like this game is going to be a game of the year for some people. Some people are going to hate it. Some people think this is overrated, and it's going to be one of those all-weird games that it's one of those love or hate games, for sure.
Do you think that it will fare better than Titanfall?
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely.
Because, Titanfall and Destiny were hyped to be the biggest two games of this year before we knew Halo 5 was, delayed and whatnot, or not coming out this year, I guess. And Titanfall was exciting for a week and then lost a lot or all of its steam. And Destiny is trying basically to do the exact opposite. Keep steam for as long as humanly possible.
I feel like the steam's gone already, though. I feel relevance to YouTube, people just don't seem interested in Destiny, or
I think a lot of it's because we've seen the same content. Even from them, like in their trailers, we don't get a glimpse of anything, which
same stuff again.
I find so strange. Like, I hope their launch trailer is like all out, balls to the wall, like
crazy. Yeah, because the cutscenes and stuff are amazing.
They are.
The first, I think they show cutscenes in the first 2 missions, and that's it.
But all we see is old Russia.
And that's it.
And sometimes the moon.
The moon.
And that kind of leads into Cameron Parker's a question for us, which are there any specific games, and I'm going to kind of expand on this question, but are there any specific games, now that we've seen some things get delayed, Battlefield Hardline got pushed back, Dragon Age got bumped just a little bit, but it still makes 2014. Are there any games this fall that you feel are going to be big surprises or big letdowns? And I thought we could each pick one. People always want to know the surprises and the letdowns. So let's start with the good, the glass half full, surprises, anything that is officially coming out in 2014 that you think will surprise people.
You go first. I'm still thinking.
I think that Lords of the Fallen is going to be kind of a sleeper hit. I've been high on this game for a while. It's basically a Dark Souls ripoff, but there are so few games that do Dark Souls. I don't feel ripping off it is like an offensive move. You know, it's not like, oh, it's another platformer. Oh, it's another military shooter. There's basically Dark Souls. And how many other games are very difficult, combat-focused, character-building games? There just aren't really many. And it's very, what's a good word? I just love that the game is in your hands and it's you playing is just basically all the game's about. Like, they don't really try to overcomplicate things with, you know, beautiful cutscenes. There's not like an epic, you know, party system. There's not different planets. It's just like you playing the game, pressing the buttons, and that's how things take shape, and that's how things are exciting. And I really get a kick out of that. It harkens back to older days of gaming where mechanics were key, and I think that it comes out at kind of a terrible time. It's releasing the same time as like AC Unity and Sunset, which I don't like that, but I think it will be like, hey, this is, if you're a gamer, like this is a game you got to pick up, especially because it's on next gen.
Interesting. So that's your biggest surprise. What about the biggest letdown?
I mean, if I go for me personally versus I go for industry wide, if Destiny is just what we see in the beta, that's going to be my biggest letdown. I mean, that's me personally, but I hope not. I got all my fingers crossed, like all 10 of them, even my toes. But if I had to predict one for like people in general, I think that I'm just going to be a little crazier. I'm going to say that Advanced Warfare lets people down because they're hoping it's like, oh, a real next-gen Call of Duty, and the trailers make it seem like you have all of these skills and can do all of this stuff, but I still feel like it's going to be a very on-the-rails shooter. And yeah, you have a moment where you get to climb in this suit or you get to do this, but it's not going to be like Crysis or something where you're running around and you have these different, you know, suits and these different abilities. It is still going to be Call of Duty, and I wonder if we've just reached the expiration date on that franchise.
Interesting, because I was about to say the complete opposite. I was about to say Advanced Warfare was going to be the biggest surprise.
Tell me why.
I've been hearing things in the background saying that it's one of the most fluid Call of Duty games forever. The multiplayer is going to be amazing, and I've just been hearing very good things about it. So,
well, that would be awesome.
I reckon it's going to be the biggest surprise because I think no one's really that excited about it, and I think it's going to come out and people are going to see trailers and stuff. I'm going to be able to play it at Gamescom, so the multiplayer. So I'll give my impressions of it when I come back. But
yeah, and especially with Hardline getting bumped out of 2014, what is the other competitive shooter? Evolve is a team-based, totally different thing. Destiny is PvP, but again, a totally different package. Nothing is going to really satiate that specific crowd except Advanced Warfare.
Also, I was going to say Evolve as well, when I think Evolve is... People are aware of the game, but they're not like... oh my god about it yet. So I think when that game comes out, they see gameplay and see people like playing together. I think they're going to be really excited about that game for sure.
That's interesting because I think they've done a good job over there at 2K of tempering, like, so many games blow out so early, like, oh my god, it's the greatest thing. But I feel like even though Evolve has these giant monsters and this really epic idea, I feel like they've kept it like pretty like low key almost. Like, okay, we've seen 2 monsters, we've seen 2 maps, we've seen the characters, and like you said, they do have a chance to really come out at launch and be like, look at us, we've got this game. As word of mouth spreads, it can build a lot of hype rather than setting the bar super high and then, oh, the game comes out. I think they've done a nice job of like, hey, we've got this really good game, we're getting good buzz from E3, we're getting good buzz from demos and previews, but do you know what I mean? Like, they haven't gone over the top.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think they got to though to get the sales in because I feel like people aren't really hyped about it yet.
Yeah, but, I mean, they still have a couple. It's a mid-October release, so maybe we'll see a crazy push.
It's very, very good though. I'm generally looking forward to playing more of that.
I'm glad you like it because you didn't play it at E3 and I loved it there, and now you like it as well. So I
played it twice. I was like, the second time around, I was like, I need to get this game like now.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool idea, and especially as fans of Left 4 Dead, like it fills that spot pretty nicely. Is there anything that you think is going to let people down, or even just let yourself down?
My one, I think it's not. It's fairly obvious, I guess. But Sunset Overdrive for me is going to be the biggest letdown. Yeah. I played it. I did not like the way it controlled. It felt very. I can't think of the right word. It didn't feel right. Generally it doesn't. The jumping doesn't feel right. I couldn't work out what things I could climb. The only thing I could think of was perhaps the weapons looked fairly cool. The graphics looked. They like the colours and stuff. It looked very vivid and
I just feel like it plays incompetently. It feels like something's wrong, like you're playing with the wrong setting or something. Like it
feels like the controller's broken or something. It just doesn't feel. It's just a very weird game to play, and I feel like when that game got announced, I was like, "Oh my god, this is awesome!" Insomniac. I was a bit like, "Oh, Xbox." Okay, that's weird, but I thought this could be really potentially a good game, and I feel like it's gonna be such a big flop. It's not gonna sell.
Yeah,
reviews will be bad. We're gonna hate it. And
I've heard rumors that they're thinking of doing an exclusive, like a white Xbox One with it. So it'll be interesting to see how much of a push they give that game and if it lives up to it.
I bet they back out of that.
Yeah.
I bet. Let's not do that. Let's do it for Halo.
Yeah, let's come out with a Master Chief one. I mean,
green one.
There's a lot of games that I think could go either way, which is exciting. You know, Dragon Age 3, that's one that could be a Game of the Year candidate, or it could be, it's a fun RPG.
I think that's going to be a massive game. It's going to be awesome.
You think it's going to be awesome?
It's officially. Yeah.
We haven't, neither of us have played it, have we?
No, we haven't played it, but I just feel like I think they've learned so much since the second game. I think they're going to come out and just.
I hope so, because Mass Effect 3 was big, but I feel like BioWare hasn't really hit their mark in quite a while. So
apparently, BioWare is announcing another game at Gamescom.
Oh, not Mass Effect 4?
Nope. Another game from a UK developer, which is working with BioWare.
Nice.
So brand new IP and stuff.
That'll be really cool. I'm excited for that already. And then just games like AC Unity. Like, does that really revitalize the Assassin's franchise, or is it just more of the same? Even stuff like Shadows of Mordor, Far Cry 4.
That's going to be a flop, actually. That's going to be.
You think so?
We didn't. I didn't like the game personally.
But I think it has potential.
Has potential. I think AC Unity is going to impress people. I think it's going to get that buzz back about Assassin's Creed again. Sure.
It'll be a very fun fall because there's things that could go right and things that could go wrong, and that's always more exciting than this is going to suck. Or I mean, I almost like the intrigue of like what is Destiny going to really be, rather than because we don't have a game that's like, oh my God, Last of Us, everybody's sold. You know, everybody's spent their money. It's done. Like this fall is full of a lot of potential, which is pretty cool. And you guys can send your questions in to me, GhostRobo@gmail.com. I will peruse through them and find ones that seem interesting. We've got a lot of good ones today, so thank you guys for discussing stuff with us. Before we go, like we always like to do, anything you're looking forward to in the coming week/weeks? We've been, like I said, in this very slow, sluggish period. I think it's probably the worst summer for gaming that I remember.
It's so empty. I can't even think of Last of Us coming out.
Walking Dead on PS4. Apparently, we learned about that. I'm excited for Last of Us again. I am as well. Always fun to play a 10 out of 10 game.
I think there's another game coming out. I think it might be called Scarred Free.
What?
Is it called that?
What is this game?
Scarred Free. I'm not sure if it's called that. I had to look. 1 second.
Okay, we're learning about a new game. There's a new announcement that Game Riot has to make for us that's coming out, but there's basically nothing in August.
No, it's not called that.
And then, Destiny kicks off in September, and Disney Infinity 2.0. You seen that collector's edition with the giant monster?
I haven't yet. No.
Oh, it's pretty massive and cool. I didn't really like Disney Infinity 1.0, but I'm excited for this one.
This is a hack and slash, fully priced game RPG. It's the third one.
What's it called? Oh, Sacred 3.
Yes, yeah,
Sacred. Is that next gen?
It's not.
Okay.
For some reason I got a review code on PC for.
Oh, you did.
All right. Yeah.
Well,
so I might play that. I don't know.
You can tell us about that. We will wrap up though. We just got a lot of tweets about the Last of Us movie. There has been a poster shown off at Comic-Con with a picture of Ellie's chest and hand and nose, I guess. No feet and no eyes. And it just says, The Last of Us, soon to be a major motion picture. Which, knowing the history of video game movie promises, I don't know how much I want to get into this. I mean, it's supposedly being produced by Sam Raimi, written by Neil Druckmann. They're talking to get Maisie Williams as Ellie. So they definitely are rolling the ball, but we've seen this before with Uncharted, BioShock, Halo, World of Warcraft, and how many of those movies are out? 0.
Well, Uncharted's apparently coming out 2015.
Right. Or 2016? 2016, I think.
2016 and 2017 for Last of Us.
Yeah.
Right?
And they're trying to get Mark Wahlberg as Nathan Drake. And
what?
I think he's kind of...
How does that fit?
I guess because Nathan Drake isn't a very serious character, you go with more of a not like top...
Why is he so popular? That
Yeah, he gets a lot of those like not great but big box office movies. He seems to be in Transformers.
Well, I heard some reason the Rock guy, I can't remember his name.
Right.
Now, he's the second most highest paid male actor.
Weird.
In that last year, I think. What? In front of like Tom Cruise and Leonardo DiCaprio, and
I guess it's what sells, not about what quality. But I think a Last of Us movie would work really well. If you're going to make a game movie like that one, I think
Uncharted could work. I think it could be like an Indiana Jones style if they do it well enough.
that's true. If they do it Indiana Jones and not like some dumb comedy thing, like I think they have to maintain.
Yeah, it's got to be like comedy, but not. Yeah, I don't know, like a little bit of comedy on the side.
Right, and make it more about the treasure hunting and not just like shooting a million guys and hooking up with Chloe.
Yeah.
But the Last of Us movie, let us know what you think about that in the comments below. Let us know your thoughts about shooters. Do you think that they're kind of wearing stale? Would you like to see more difficulty, maybe more puzzle elements, more strategy in your FPS games? We want to know in the comments below. Follow us around the world. We are at your fingertips on Twitter, twitter.com/GhostRobo for me, and twitter.com/GameRiotArmy for Game Riot. We actually do span the globe. You've got the European continent covered. I've got the Americas. We now just need someone to hold down the Asian continent over there, and we'll have a pretty good global hold there. But
like world domination or something.
World domination. Until we do that, though, guys and girls, thanks for watching. Have a fantastic day. Go check out Game Riot's channel. He's playing The Crew. He's playing Destiny. I'm playing Destiny. And we'll both be playing The Last of Us sooner rather than later. Until that time, though, thanks again. Drink some hot chocolate, and we'll see you all later.